Traumas are suppressed memories that the physical man tried to forget, but the spirit man causes you to remember. That's your 30. Good evening. It is a peaceful, calm, overcast day here in Michigan where I am. It is 15:4100 hours, which means it is 3:41 p.m. for you civilians. We want to thank all of our servicemen and women who are currently serving and protecting us, standing on our borders that we do and do not know about. Want to thank all of our veterans who have served, and we thank you for your service. Also want to thank those civil service workers who are currently working, serving our districts, local, state, and federal. And before we go any further, I want to thank those who have been donating to the podcast by way of our cash out, which is our hashtag, that's your 30, THATSURTHURTY, that's your 30. Appreciate you all so much. Also want to thank those who have been and who continue to download my ebook, Miss Mary Determined for Better, which is available on Amazon and Goodreads.com, GOODREADS.com. And this episode of 30 Seconds of Encouragement is brought to you by Miss Mary Determined for Better, a memoir and ebook written by me of a personal experience that I had almost 30 years ago with a woman named Miss Mary who spoke wisdom into my life in ways that I've never expected, which have carried me from that time up until then. And I plan to continue to walk in that strength that she spoke into my life. And I wish and I hope for everyone, even those who haven't even read the book or downloaded it, that everyone in this walk of life will have some type of Miss Mary experience. And before we begin this episode, want to thank the young man responsible for the music, the theme music for 30 Seconds of Encouragement, Mr. Dalvin Walton Jr. We call him Devo. Thank you, Devo. Appreciate you very much. And let's go ahead and get into it, because the subject matter is just what it is. You know, our traumas are suppressed memories that our physical man tries to forget, but our spirit man won't allow us to. It always resonates there. I have come to experience in some recent months of having nightmares of things that happened to me some years ago. And I'm like, where the heck is that crap coming from? You know, at first I'm just thinking it's just nightmares, but then I'm like, no, that actually happened. You spent so many years of your life suppressing those things. Now they're coming back. You know, I'm retired. I'm not filled with the hustle and bustle of work and all the things that came with that. I have more relaxed and downtime with my family, and those things are coming back to the forefront. Those suppressed memories are now being unsuppressed. Personal, military, all that stuff at one time. And I do not like it. Don't like it at all. But I'm understanding that, okay, you're going to have to do more healing. Now, had I been doing healing over the years? Yeah. But now it's at a point to where I have to do more healing. And I've even taken the route of doing therapy, because I already knew that I had PTSD. I've been suppressing that for years. I've had military PTSD and MST. And for those who, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome and military sexual trauma. So I have both of those. And, you know, of course, in the military, you know, I'm suppressing those things then because I have to function as a soldier, and I'm dealing with those things as they come. And, you know, one of the things that we are taught in the military, one of the first things that we are taught in the military is to suppress your emotions. We are taught to think. We are taught to react, not react, respond, not respond without your emotions. You have to think. So automatically you're being taught to suppress your emotions. So of course, yes, if we're suffering death of a loved one, or we can't be at a graduation, or we get hurt, or someone in our family gets hurt and we can't get there immediately, whatever personal issues we have to suppress that, get the job done, complete the mission, and then deal with whatever is going on with you. You don't show emotion. Showing emotion is a sign of weakness. Showing emotion can cause yourself, someone else to lose their life. So automatically we taught to suppress. The first person you meet when you join the military, whatever branch it is a drill sergeant. And this person is trained to scream, yell, and be directly in your face. And no, you cannot react, respond. You can't even do a slight breath or a slouch in your posture. None of that. And most importantly, you could not look them directly in the eye. They called it eyeballing. Now that's one thing that was hard for me, to not look a person in the eye when they was talking to me, because I was raised to look a person in the eye when you're talking to them. So that was one way of them beating us down and building us back up. So in the beginning, it was hard for me not to look the drill sergeant in the eye. So I struggled with that. I was already struggling with the screaming and the yelling because I didn't come from a family that did all that. And so with the drill sergeant yelling and screaming in my face, and I can't look the drill sergeant in the eye. I had a male drill sergeant and female drill sergeant. I couldn't look them in the eye. So that was a challenge for me. But eventually I got it. And once I got it, then the suppression of the emotions, I was pretty much skilled at it. Now I was already suppressing emotions as a child from molestation because there was no help there. So I was suppressing that, trying to function as a kid, having a regular childhood, growing up playing with my friends, having a good day, awesome day, to come and be molested sometime throughout the day or late in the evening, and just trying to shrug it off and go back to a regular childhood, go to school the next day or whatever else was going on. So I was learning to suppress it then. But by the time I got to the military, I was skilled at it. The military helped me hone in on that craft unknowingly. And I skilled that thing to where now I have suppressed molestation from childhood. And now things that was going on in the military with me, I was suppressing those things too. And then while in the military, I became involved with someone in a relationship that was abusive. Now I'm suppressing that as well, which caused abuse to be worse because I'm not expressing my emotions to the point that I should be with him because I'm conditioned to suppress my emotions. So he's figuring me to be weak when the whole time I'm just being in control of my emotions. Now, yes, am I verbalizing things? Yes, but I'm not emotional with it. The yelling, the screaming and all that. Even in the physical aspect when he was being abusive, yes, I would fight back. But then there was the lack of emotion. I wasn't the crier or the, why are you doing this and all that. It wasn't that. It was a fight. Whatever conversation came after that, and it was it. So that caused the abuse to be worse because he felt like I was weak. And then on the spiritual aspect, I didn't know how to handle that. So I didn't know how to walk away. It seemed simple enough to walk away from a relationship. Someone's treating you that way. That's not right. Common sense is that's not right. Walk away from it. But I didn't understand the spiritual aspect because there was many times I questioned myself in that relationship. I'm like, are you crazy? Why the heck are you with him? Just because you all have a child together, he don't love you. He's putting his hands on you. He doesn't love you. At times I'm rationalizing with myself, but I'm not understanding the spiritual aspect of it. He has a controlling, manipulative, lying spirit. You have a caring, loving spirit. His spirit stronger than your spirit, and your spirit is not mature enough to understand how to handle that type of spirit. So your spirit man stronger than the physical man, but your physical man is making common sense, but your spiritual sense doesn't know how to operate against the spirit that he's carrying. So in that, I'm suffering, but in the suffering, I'm suppressing. So everything on the outside looks good, but on the inside, I'm suffering, suppressing it. So time went on. Eventually we break up. And that breakup came through a prayer that I prayed to God. And by this time, we had 2 children. And I had prayed a prayer to God, get me out of this. I'll never get back in it again. And please keep me from getting into it like this again. Please keep me separated from spirits like this. It was just a simple, quick prayer. God heard me. And he did. He separated me from that thing. Even when I was still attached to it, allowing him contact with me, he was still protecting me and kept me away from it. And eventually the tie was cut completely. The physical tie, the spiritual tie was still there. And I was battling with that in the physical separation. Now as time is going on, I am living my life. I'm suppressing those things. I'm not dealing with the fact of what went on with him now. And I mean, not knowing that I wasn't traumatized from this relationship either. I just knew that it was a bad relationship. Didn't want to be in it anymore. And once I got out of it, I wasn't going back to him or anyone else like him. So I knew that I had the trauma from childhood. I knew I had the trauma from the military, the PTSD and the MST. I knew I had those things. But even and still, I'm trying to be functional, normal for my children. You know, they were small. So the things that were bothering me, I just masked it. You know, I'm busy with them, raising them, keeping them active in their activities and whatever else they had going on. I'm working, going to school, running the household by myself, raising children by myself. So I had plenty enough to keep me busy. So even if I had thoughts of something that bothered me from the military, you know, I could deal with that for whatever time that I had to, which was always real quick. And then I would mask it with something. You know, if I was, you know, I would drink, or if me and my children was out somewhere, you know, I would let them stay longer, keeping them active in their sports and things like that. I would spend time at their school. I wasn't a real overtime worker because I wanted to have all my time with them, as much time with them. So it was either work, school, my children. Kept myself busy so I could mask it. You know, if I had to cry or something like that, you know, I would get off to myself, or I would hold it and wait until I got in the shower, or wait until the kids went to bed at night. And you know, I'll just get time to myself and cry if I needed to. But any other time, like if something caused me to think of something from the military, whether I was out during the day doing something and, you know, a song or something came across my mind, or just a thought just came in my mind from the things that I went through in the military, I was able to mask that, suppress that, so I could go on through my day and function. Well, now my children are grown. My oldest son, unfortunately, he was murdered. I don't have him physically anymore, but I do have my youngest son, and I have grandson. And now I'm retired, so I'm not as busy as I used to be when I was raising my children. I have my hobbies that I do, you know, and I work from home, from, you know, my blog, my podcast, and working on my son's murder case, still doing that. It's been almost 9 years now. Yes, I'm still working and trying to get them to start trial. That's a whole different subject in podcast. But, you know, I have, you know, my son, he has events, sporting events that I go to. My grandson has sporting events. I go to that. And, you know, I have my hobbies. I get out and I take pictures, you know, those type of things, so I can sell them for stock. And it's just less than the hustle and bustle of work, raising two children, going to school, those type of things. I have less on my plate now. And now that I have less on my plate, those memories, even things that I have forgotten about, they come to the forefront. It could even be a memory that I've had already that's now turned into a reoccurring memory, comes to the forefront. And I absolutely hate it. But I try to look at it as a plus. I'm like, okay, all these things are coming to the forefront now. Now you can do more healing. No, I don't like those memories. No, I don't like those thoughts. No, I don't like the dreams, which are nightmares. For what little sleep I do get, I'll dream about something. You know, sit up in the bed, and I'm like, yeah, Lee, that's horrible. But then I remember, oh, that actually happened. And it's hurtful. And, you know, sometimes I can't even lay back down. I'm just up. I'm like, yeah, that's trauma. It's like I didn't know that relationship had traumatized me that bad. And I said, my goodness, it's been years. And if I count it up good, it's over 30 years. With my youngest son, he's almost 30. I was involved with his dad with his oldest brother, which is 2 years. He's 2 years older than him. So it's been about 30 years now. And for that to still be affecting me, and like I previously mentioned, things that I had forgotten about coming back to the forefront. It's like, okay, got to deal with that. Now, this on top of things from the war and the military sexual trauma. All those things come back to the forefront. Even in my CMP exam, I had a CMP exam with the VA earlier this year. And the more I talked, the more things kept coming to mind that I was remembering. And the examiner that was talking to me, I said, this sounds like I'm making stuff up. I'm not. I said, the more I'm talking, the more things are coming back to mind. And I don't like it. So I'm getting agitated during the exam. And, even now, I could just be doing anything. I mean, just sitting, chilling, resting, relaxing, and a thought could come to mind. It could either be from the war, it could be from the sexual trauma, or it could be from the bad relationship. So I'm like, wow. I said, yeah. I said, all those traumas just suppressed memories, and now they coming to the front. And yeah, it hurts. It's upsetting. It's frustrating because, like I said, it's been all those years past. 30 years, 30 plus for the military, and 40 plus for the molestation as a child. Memories are coming back to the forefront. So things that I have healed from, like a wound is being ripped back open. So I'm having to reprocess, re-strategize within the healing, because the healing I did with the previous is not going to work for the latter. More has to be done. So at this age of 52, I just turned 52 a few days ago. At this age of 52, I am going through a healing process that I thought that I had dealt with. And no, yes, there is, things from the military and the MST, those things, and the molestation when I was younger. Yeah, from time to time, those things come up and they do bother me. But, now here up in recent months, it is more, and it's very aggressive. So this is what I encourage all to do when these type of things come up. Things that you had forgotten about, things that you had even forgotten had happened. It's okay to acknowledge them. And I really encourage you to seek therapy. If you're not a therapy type of person, find your way to deal with it, but just don't let it go. Because if you let it go, then you're teaching yourself to suppress again. And then at a later date, it's going to come back up again. And you're going to have to keep dealing with it until you properly address it. And that is one thing that I don't want to be doing in my older age. Do I have work to do? Yeah, a lot of work to do. Because, like I said, things are coming back to the forefront of my memory that I had even forgotten had happened. So do I journal? Yes. I blog. I do my podcast. I share some things. I don't go real personal off into the blog or the podcast, but I'm very personal within my journal. And yes, I'm writing books about that because I'm in hopes that the books will help someone, like someone's books help me. There are some podcasts and interviews that I watch on social media and on TV, and there are people who share some certain things in regards to abuse, molestation, domestic violence, those type of things. And some of those things have helped me, gave me little points and tips, in regards to healing process and things as far as therapy, those types of things. So I'm believing that even in my podcast and my blog, that even though I'm not going very deep and personal, that I'm sharing enough personal information that it will help someone, if not just one person. Because I know I'm not the only person in life who has repressed memories. I know I'm not. I'm not the only person in life who's been molested. I'm not the only person in life who has trauma from war. I'm not the only person who has trauma from being sexually assaulted. I'm not the only person in life who's been in a violent relationship. I'm not. So I know something that I say, something that I share could help someone. They would say, okay, that's a similar situation. How is she dealing with that? or it's not similar, but it's roundabout the way, just to hear me talk about it would encourage someone, because that's a part of the healing process too. Now, I'm not encouraging you to go just so in depth with things like I may, but go far enough to where you won't hurt yourself. Because there are people who will try to weaponize your hurt against you. And they do that because they're still hurt. You'll hear people say, don't nobody want to hear that. Why are you sharing that? Why are you talking about it now? Don't concern yourself with those people, and you don't have to explain yourself. How did you know that things you had suppressed would come back up at this time or whenever it came back up? How do you know? I recall when the Me Too movement came out and people were criticizing those folks. Oh, now everybody's a Me Too victim. Oh, now everybody's been sexually assaulted. There are a lot of people in this world who have been sexually assaulted, improperly touched, groped, molested, raped, you name it. Quite a few people. And to hear other people tell their story, if not tell their story, but just to say, yes, I was assaulted too. It gave someone else courage to say, yeah, so was I. Even if they're not brave enough to confront the person or persons who did it, they had the courage enough to use their voice to say, yeah, so was I. So I'm hopeful and prayerful that if not just one person is encouraged by me sharing, that they will have the courage to address the issues, address those repressed memories. They were suppressed, now they're repressed. Your spirit man is talking and is trying to heal. Your spirit man is stronger than your physical man. That's why those memories are coming back. Your physical man has been trained and adapted to suppressing things so you can function. You're trying to function. You're trying to not necessarily forget about it. Well, you may be trying to forget about it, but you don't want to keep thinking on that. You don't want to keep harping on that. You don't want to keep living in that space. I so understand that. But now your physical man is speaking and saying, hey, you gotta deal with this. It's not going anywhere. You have somewhere else to go. You have other things to do. You have other things to achieve. And the blessings that's attached to you spill over to the overflow to other people. Other folks are depending on you and you don't even know it. So the first thing to do is take care of yourself. Let's go on this healing journey. So I encourage you all to do that. You all have a good day.